أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Sorry, there was some difficulty with sharing my presentation, so I will just go ahead with where I left off last, and hopefully, inshallah, I'll get uh, the image on the screen so everyone can follow along. So we left off last last night, Surah Al-Fil, and wasn't able to finish the last ayat. The last ayat uh, we'll go through and then go to the next surah. فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ, and thus made them like broken straw eaten up. Et il les rendit ainsi comme de la paille coupée et mangée. बस उसने उन्हें खाए हुए भूसे की तरह कर दिया. So here the first word is faja'ala, which is broken down into two parts, fa and ja'ala. So the first fa is translated as so en français si, and Urdu में pas, and then the next word is ja'ala. Is in English, the translation of this is made, and en français is fait, and Urdu में कर दिया. Then we have hum, which is in English them, and en français les, and Urdu में उन्हें. Ka is like, and en français is come, and Urdu में तरह. Asfin is a broken straw in English, and en français paille coupée, and Urdu में bousa. Then the last word in Arabic is ma'kulin, ma'kulin, that eaten, which is eaten up in English, en français manger, and Urdu में खाए हुए. So now let's go to the next surah. So we are now on Surah Al-Maun, which is 106, and the other name for Surah Al-Maun is Quraysh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. لإلاف قريش إلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمكم من جوع وآمنكم من خوف. So the Hazrat Muslim Razilat Anhu has said on the introduction of this surah that like its predecessor, the previous surah, was revealed at Mecca in the earlier years of the call. Though an independent surah, complete in all respects, its subject matter is so closely related to Surah Al-Fil that it has been wrongly regarded by some commentators as part of that surah. In Surah Al-Fil, a brief but graphic and forceful description was given of the utter annihilation of Abraha's army, who had come to destroy the Kaaba. But a heavenly scourge, which took the form of a virulent variety of smallpox. In the present surah, God reminds the Quraysh that it behoved them to worship the Lord of this house, the house to which the house to serve which they were granted security from fear and hunger. In the preceding surah, mention was made of an enemy of the Kaaba and of the divine punishment that overtook him for his audacity to launch an attack on it. In the present surah, it is stated how in the utterly bleak and arid valley of Mecca, God provided the custodians of his house with every kind of food and made them secure against fear or danger. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the Gracious, the Merciful. Au nom d'Allah, le Gracieux, le Miséricordieux. अल्लाह के नाम के साथ जो बे इंतहा रहम करने वाला, बिन मांगे देने वाला और बार बार रहम करने वाला है. So the first word is or the first word is B, and this is with in English and O en français. Urdu में साथ. Ism is name in English and nom en français and nom Urdu mein. Allah is the same. Ar-Rahman is gracious. Le gracieux en français. Behad Raham karne wala. And Ar-Rahim is merciful. Le miséricordieux. Uh, Urdu mein bar bar Raham karne wala. So here another bit about this blessed ayat. Hazrat Muslim Anhu said, it has been asked why the word ism, name, has been used before the word Allah in the verse Bismillah. This may be explained in a number of ways. The use of the word name further indicates that God is hidden and can be known only through his names, that is, his attributes. By reciting Bismillah, a believer seeks the help of God through his attributes of Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. And again, the inner meanings of the Quran are a guarded treasure, and nobody can have access to them except under proper authority. The person who begins a recitation with the formula in the name of Allah says, as it were, to the guardian angels of the spiritual treasure, I am approaching it in the name of Allah. So open to me the treasures of the inner meanings of the Quran. To the one who approaches the Quran in such a spirit, the treasures will indeed be opened. The verse, none shall touch it except those who are purified, likewise shows that only the pure in spirit can find access to the deep secrets of the Quran. Another reason for introducing the word name in Bismillah is to draw attention to the prophecy of Moses, which is in Deuteronomy 18, verses 18 to 20, to which reference has already been made. So this is very, very important, and to have an understanding of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, as when we read every surah, whether it's small or it's large, if we read it with this understanding, that we can be given the understanding of that surah, the hidden understandings of it. It can be given to us if we approach it with the purified heart, and with the understanding that if we try to understand Allah's names, the deeper understanding of them, then Allah will reveal and will give us a better understanding, that is, of the attributes of Allah, and the spirit, or the all the different understandings of that surah. They will be enlightened for us. لإلاف قريش, because of the attachment of the Quraysh, en raison de l'attachement des Quraysh. Quraysh में बाहम रब पैदा करने वाले. So here, this very short ayat, we have the first word li, which is to, or because of, uh, and en français we can translate it just as a, or en raison. And the next word is ilah, ilafi. So this has been translated as to bind together, or to bring together, or to join in attachment. En français, l'attachement. En Urdu में rab. So in Urdu it's rab. And then the last word, Quraysh, is kept here as the same, but Hazrat Muslim anhu has given explanation about that word Quraysh in the important words which comes after. He first explains about li, that he says that it is a particle which, besides many of other things, is used in exclamation of wonder. So that meaning that li ilafi Quraysh, that li, that the reason, or that there is a great emphasis of that God has ilafi Quraysh, binded the Quraysh together. How he did that, and when understanding this surah, we understand how, and the commentary on that, we understand how the previous surah is interrelated, that God brought about that destruction to actually bind that is the destruction of Abraha. That is, this was so that it would bind the Arabs, the Quraysh, together. Then he explains about the word ilafi, that which is simply translated as attachment. This is a noun from alafa, and they say alafa alfa, that is, he made him to cleave, or keep to the place, stick to the place. He made him love him, or it. He made him stick to it. He made a covenant with him for the purpose of trade. He traded with him. He provided him with necessary things and prepared him. Ilaf, ilafi, means sticking, or making one stick to a thing, loving and making one love a person or thing, providing a person with a thing, a covenant, or an obligation involving responsibility for safety, protection. And about this interesting note about the word Quraysh, that Hazrat Muslim out says that this is derived from Qaf, Ra, Sheen, and they say Kurasha, or should it could be Kurasha. I'm not sure. I tried finding the correct pronunciation of this word, but this word, he says, is that a meaning that he collected it from here and there and attached one part of it to another. The Quraysh were so called because one of their ancestors, Husay bin Khalid bin Nader, had prevailed upon them to migrate from all parts of Arabia where they had lived a scattered life and to settle in Mecca. Of Banu Kanana, only the progeny of Nader settled in Mecca, and as they, the Quraysh, were a small group, they were called Quraysh, which means a small group gathered from here and there. إِيلَافِهِمْ رِحْلَةَ الشِّتَاءِ وَالصَّيْفِ. He's making them attached to their journey in winter and summer. Son attachement à leur voyage en hiver et en été. हाँ, उनमें रब्त बढ़ाने के लिए हमने सर्दियों और गर्मियों के सफ़र बनाए हैं. So here we have the words breaking down. The first one is ilafi. So this is very similar to ilafin, ilafi. That it is translated in English as promote alliance. And if we take it ilafi him, to promote their alliance or to make them attached. En français pour les attacher. And the word en Urdu में Rab Burhana, and him is English is there. En français leur, Urdu में unme. The next word is rihlata. This is journey in English, and voyage en français, and suffer in Urdu. Ashita'i, this is winter, hiver, and sardian, and wa is and en français is et, and Urdu में is or. Asaifi, this is summer, en français is été, and Urdu में is garmion. So Hazrat Muslim Maud Ta'ala Anhu has commented on this ayat and said that according to some commentators, the verse is supposed to read something like this, and I'll just read the English, that do thou wonder, O Muhammad, at God's great favor upon the Quraysh, that he has created in their hearts love for journeying in winter and summer. The divine favor consisted in the fact that by taking trade caravans in winter to Yemen and in summer to Syria and Palestine, the Quraysh brought necessities of life to Mecca. By this trading activity, they developed a certain prestige and also became acquainted with the prophecies about the appearance of a great prophet in Arabia by coming into contact with Jews of Yemen and Christians of Syria who knew those prophecies. It was indeed a great divine favor that God created in the hearts of the Quraysh a liking for making journeys to Yemen and Syria. They were so rooted in the soil and had such great attachment for the Kaaba that they would rather starve than leave it, even temporarily. It was by the exhortation of Hashim, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, great grandfather, that they took to this calling. Thus, it constituted a great divine favor upon the Quraysh that by their journeys to these places, they, besides other advantages of these journeys, were being prepared to accept the coming prophet when he appeared. And continuing on, he says that there is another explanation of the verses which fits in, perhaps more appropriately, with this context. This is as follows. Thy Lord destroyed the owner of the elephant to attach the hearts of the Quraysh to their journeying freely in winter and summer, which constituted a great divine favor upon them. This is because if Arabia had not been destroyed, if Arabia had not been destroyed, it would have been impossible for the Quraysh to make journeys to Yemen. The destruction of Abraha, therefore, besides opening the way for trade, journeys to Yemen, made the Kaaba all the more sacred in the eyes of the Arabs, for whom it was already a place of pilgrimage. This, in its turn, gave added impetus to the trade of the Quraysh. So we had a little bit difficulty in the beginning. I apologize for that. Um, but we were able to cover the still continue to cover by the grace of Allah many parts today. So inshallah, I will continue next week on this surah, and may Allah give us all the ability to learn from Holy Quran and its meaning, and benefit and derive blessing from it when we offer prayers, when we read the Holy Quran. Jazakumullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.